this land will get water. فَالْفَارِقَاتِ فَرْقًا. Two things have been given to us so far. These winds, they bring about rain, they bring about life, and also they bring about what? Death. Both things. Then Allah Azza wa Jal says, after this, فَالْمُلْقِيَاتِ ذِكْرًا. They bring people into contact with reminder. These winds bring people into contact with reminder. Just a few reminders that I want to share with you that these winds bring about, if you reflect upon them. Winds are they're causing a cooperation between the heavens and the earth. The clouds are moving in the heavens, and the rain is falling on the earth. All of it to serve who? Serve us. Serve the human being. Allah is showing just by means of the winds that He has given, it's a single leadership. It's a single chain of command. It only comes from Allah. They're not under separate leaderships. It shows the purpose of creation. One of the great reminders of the ayat, the purpose of creation. How everything comes and cooperates with everything else. All as a favor to me. Right? Reminds you of your own purpose. If Allah has created all of these things with such purpose, then who is this thing has been created, خَلَقَ لَكُمْ, He created for you, I must have a purpose too. So even wind reminds me of my purpose in life. It's a profound reminder. And then the second reminder that the winds carry, I give you an example. If you left your pet in the house without giving them water, you forgot. You come back after the whole day. Your pet is at whose mercy? At your mercy. Until you take a little plate or a little drop of water and drop it in their tongue, they're begging for it. Whether that animal scratches you or damages your property or listens to you, doesn't listen to you, in the end they submit to who? To you. As wild as they can get. As wild and rebellious as human beings can get. If Allah does not give us these sips of water to drink, where do we go? There's nowhere else. We're more pathetic than the pets we think we own. We are more powerless before Allah. It is a reminder of the lordship of Allah that He's letting you drink these sips. This water is not your product. You can walk about arrogantly on the earth, but if He doesn't send that mercy from the sky, where are you going to be? It's the lordship of Allah. The winds are reminding you of Allah's lordship over you and me. The second powerful reminder, so these winds deliver a reminder. The winds are a reminder of resurrection. These winds come, water comes from the sky, the earth is dead, and what happens to the earth? It comes back to life. Dead becomes living. And now every time the rains bring life to the earth, we are reminded that we will also die, and we will also be in this earth, and just like the earth is giving out vegetation, it will be giving out human beings on the day of resurrection. It's a reminder of resurrection. All of that reminder starts where? If you just reflect on what? The wind. Subhanallah. فَالْمُلْقِيَاتِ ذِكْرًا. And then finally, we said the wind does two things. It comes as a source of destruction or as a source of mercy, which reminds us that Allah has in place a profound system of punishment and of reward. Something that begets His wrath and other things that beget His mercy. So we are reminded not to cross certain lines and to pursue certain other things in life. We are reminded of Allah's justice. We are reminded of Allah's commandments just by the winds. And now that Allah has sent these winds and asked you to think about them in this way, and the Arab would process this, he would hear these words and he would process them immediately. The last few ayat that I want to share with you, عُذْرًا أَوْ نُذْرًا. عُذْرًا أَوْ نُذْرًا. People, all of us will feel the wind on our face. There'll be two kinds of people. People that will take the reminder and now they are warned, right? What's the other kind of person? Nothing. Nothing. They just pass, nice breeze. Right? So for the people who took the warning, the winds served as a warner. Nudra. And for the people who didn't care, now the wind is an excuse to punish them. Allah sent them a reminder and they ignored it. Now that wind has become an excuse, a means by which they should be punished. Udhr. A reason, a cause, an excuse that is now in creation that is witness against them. May Allah protect us from that. عُذْرًا أَوْ نُذْرًا. And after all these oaths, these are the oaths. These are setting the stage. This is not even the argument yet. This is just preparing you for the argument. What's the actual point? إِنَّمَا تُوعَدُونَ لَوَاقِعٌ. What you have been promised is no doubt going to become certainty. It is going to happen. You have been promised something, it is bound to occur. Either just like these winds that deliver Allah's mercy or Allah's wrath, you will be the recipient one day of Allah's extreme mercy or Allah's extreme wrath. It is bound to happen. Oaths in the Quran are a profound literary masterpiece in and of themselves. Each one of them. The surahs that begin with oaths demand special study, just in and of themselves, right? And they're not all structured in the same way. It's an intricate study that a lot of our ulama went into. Dialogue in the Quran. I'm going to sound a little blasphemous to you guys, I'm sorry. It's just a thing with being a teacher. You do whatever you can to get the point across. Okay, I'm not much of a speaker, I try to turn more into a teacher or a tutor. Anybody here ever see Finding Nemo? Okay, if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's a great movie, no bad language, and there's only one bad thing in it. The Nemo says, "I hate you" to his dad at one line, and pays for it the whole movie. So that's good. Other than that, yeah, usually even children's films have filth in them. So yeah, but anyway, it's a decent movie. Anyway, the reason I brought it up, and it's going to tie into what I'm about to share with you, there's this one scene in the movie that I'd like you to recall. And this one scene, Nemo's dad, what was his name, Marlin? Right? Nemo's dad, yeah, so sisters watch this a lot, yeah. So, Marlin is all depressed. He's sitting on the back of this turtle named Crush. And he's all sad, and these little mini turtles come and say what happened. And he says, I don't want to talk about it. And then they get him to tell his story. And they all listen very carefully, right? Now, the way that the movie is filmed, it's animated, the fish is telling his story to turtles. But they don't show him tell the entire story. You know what they do? They cut it out, and all of a sudden those turtles are talking to some other fish. And then those fish are talking to some other fish. And those fish are talking to some birds. And those birds are talking to other birds. And they cut until the story gets to Nemo. But they didn't show it that the whole story was told from A to B, then B narrated the whole story to C, then C narrated the whole story to D. They didn't have to waste time in the repetition. They just transfused from one scene to the other. You know what I'm talking about? Right? Now this is a technique in modern film, right? Where you go from one scene to the next, and you sort of, the audience is expected to know what happened in between the lines. It's self-explanatory that everybody communicated the story further down the line. It's self-explanatory. This is a technique in modern film, but it's actually used a lot in the Quran. Transition, iltifat. It's very dominant feature of the Quran. I only brought it to you from Finding Nemo because I hope you've seen Finding Nemo and you know what transition is then. But I want to share an example of alluding to this dialogue. One of my favorite dialogues in the Quran, وَإِذْ نَادَى رَبُّكَ مُوسَى. When your Lord called on Musa, أَنِ ائْتِ الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Go to the wrongful nation. Go to the wrongful nation. The Lord called on Musa, go where? The wrongful nation. قَوْمَ فِرْعَوْنَ, specifically the nation of who? Fir'aun. أَلَا يَتَّقُونَ. Don't they have any taqwa? Don't they have any consciousness of no fear of Allah? Now Musa responds, alayhi salam. قال, he said, رَبِّ إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَن يُكَذِّبُونَ. My Lord, there's no doubt I'm afraid that they're going to lie against me. A few lines down we will find he is afraid, he says, I'm afraid that they are going to kill me. But the first fear he tells Allah is what? I'm afraid they're going to lie against me. What this tells us is something profound. Musa alayhi salam is not cared about life and death. He's not concerned about life and death. That's not what he cares about. What he cares about is this mission that Allah has given him. He does not want to disappoint this mission that Allah has handed him. And if they lie against him, he will not be able to fulfill his mission. So the first fear he expresses to Allah is that they are going to belie me. They're going to lie against me. They're going to disregard me. إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَن يُكَذِّبُونَ. Something pertaining directly to the task Allah gave him. And then the second problem, وَيَضِيقُ صَدْرِي. My chest becomes tight. Musa alayhi salam was known to have a temper. When people speak to him in obnoxious terms about Allah, like Fir'aun did, when somebody speaks to him clearly in the wrong, the first thing, some people are able to keep their calm and respond. Other people get really, really upset when they hear something outrageous, right? And there's some people in debate, their job is to say things outrageous to make you so angry that you can't think straight. And then you trip on your words. Now, it's not that you don't know what you're talking about, but you're just so mad that you can't talk clearly anymore. And he says he has that problem. He says, وَيَضِيقُ صَدْرِي. My chest becomes tight when I'm frustrated. What's implied here is this frustration. وَلَا يَنْطَلِقُ لِسَانِي. And my tongue stops articulating. He's not just talking about his stutter. He's talking about something else too. When he gets extremely angry, he can't communicate his ideas clearly. And he's afraid if he does that, what's going to fail? The mission. The task will suffer. So I fear this shortcoming of mine will come in the way of this task you have given me. وَلَا يَنْطَلِقُ لِسَانِي فَأَرْسِلْ إِلَى هَارُونَ. Beautiful words. Give the responsibility of messengership to Harun also. Make him a messenger too. If I fail, the backup should be there. I'm not important. What's important, he's saying? The mission. So he says, send